Kenny Keys, Tempo, A-Time, let's go.
We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Getting with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Tell them, coach, statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either hit it for the win or they hitting the goalposts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any kid he could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they running back on the real. That's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver, signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.
And welcome everybody to Real Talk. I hope everybody had an amazing Father's Day weekend. We are here working on Juneteenth. But this ain't work. This is just fun and entertainment. So shout out to everybody for your day. Hopefully you gave some money to a black person today or showed them some love as they celebrated their freedom, so to speak, here today. I had my daughter watching this documentary and it was a little tough. So I'm going to try and be as nice as I can today, but a little amped up. You know how that go. But Chris, what's going on with you, sir?
Man, nothing much. You know, I gave my money to FanDuel today. You know how I do it, man. Baseball right now is the money maker. Let's see what goes good. But I'm doing good. You know, enjoying my summer. Patiently waiting for basketball and football to come about. So I'm trying to get into baseball, trying to pick up that sport, just to add another sport to my resume. And because, you know, I feel like everybody, you know, I saw these posts saying NBA countdown, you know, NFL countdown. I'm like, damn, we in the middle of baseball season. Nobody's showing baseball some love. And I used to be that person. So now I'm trying to get into baseball as little bit as I can, you know. So that's it, man. Just enjoying the summer. How about you?
Yeah, I don't have summer. I work. I got mad kids. But even still, man, I'm just, you know, enjoying the moment, enjoying the day. There's a lot of people that didn't get a chance to wake up today. So definitely want to take advantage of that. Again, I joked at the beginning, but as I've gotten older, Juneteenth obviously means a lot more to me. And I try to educate myself more. So definitely will be thankful for today. Juneteenth brought about the ability for Zion, for Ja to Ja.
Oh, man, here we go.
Bradley Beal to get traded for nothing. So I am wearing a DC Go-Go shirt, the G League version of the Washington Wizards, and they will still have my support. I cannot confirm or deny whether I will continue to support the Washington Wizards until I see what the heck they do with Chris Paul. But I promise you, if Chris Paul starts the year in a Washington Wizards uniform, you will hear no support from me. They better have something else up their sleeve other than that bull jive that they did. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited overall. And someone else who should be excited is Ja Morant. So Adam Silver hit us with the biggest pump fake maybe of recent history with, we're going to postpone the suspension until after the final so it's not a distraction. What the heck was he talking about? Like, most people are like, oh, this is it. Like, this was what you had us waiting for. This is what the hype was about. Like, tell us you don't really care without saying you don't really care. 25 games for Ja Morant. I thought it was fitting enough that he did or he will miss enough games to not qualify for any of the all-NBA teams, but he don't have to do that anyway. So no real shock there. And Yeah, I got more thoughts, but I'll turn it over to you. What did you think? I know we have predicted, and all the reports were half a year or more. So what did you think with the outcome?
As more time went by, I really started thinking about the suspension and how much do I really think he deserved versus how much I think he's going to get. Now, I believed in the conspiracy theory where, oh my gosh, Adam Silver is going to postpone, this announcement. He's going to get at least 40 games. That's what I thought because of how the optics were going. But 25 games. Now I think about it, I think that's just about right. But I feel like we all can agree. Some people may think it's a slap in the wrist. You definitely thought the first one was a slap in the wrist. Any other mistake, if this was somehow, some way to happen again, I really think he might get this suspension might be crazy. So hopefully, 25 games, like you said, now he's ineligible to make the All NBA rosters. Some people say he's not a top 3, top 4 point guard, but let's say he goes out and has a crazy season next year. Still not eligible, to make the All NBA. I think he lost some incentive money for not making it this year, even though he's putting on, good numbers, putting on good stats. I think this should be a wake-up call. 25 games is still a lot of games. That's a lot of games for the Grizzlies, trying to figure out how they're going to win without their best player. So this, although some people might say 25 games is not a lot, for him and for the Grizzlies, this can have huge implications on how they start their season. Because in the Western Conference, 25 games, well, even in the East, 25 games mean everything. But every single one of those games matter if they think they want to make the playoffs. So I'm curious to see how the Grizzlies are going to start off next year, missing Ja Morant for those first 25 games.
So I have a bit of a different take from you, in that I don't think Memphis is worried about him missing those games. I think they've proven time and time again they are capable without him. I think this puts a lot of pressure on him in 2 ways. One, if they happen to fall off a cliff and they start the year 8-27. Oh, not 8-27. 8-17. He has to come back. And the pressure is going to be, save us, Ja. If they start 17-8, it's going to be, Ja, you better not mess this up.
True.
So I will be very, very curious to see how he looks in return. Is he in shape? Has he improved his game? Has he increased his ability to shoot from distance? Has he incorporated some kind of mid-range game that Kyrie and KD and DeMar DeRozan's have, that you don't have to get all the way to the basket because you can't keep falling from that high out the sky? So I'm hoping that he's putting the work in. I don't need to see any videos of it. The court will tell me soon enough. The next basketball court, not legal court. The next issue for me is I haven't heard anything from his camp that says he's getting the message. I heard he didn't want to talk to Lil Wayne. I've heard now they're saying that they feel like the NBA is targeting him. I seen a video coming out saying it wasn't a gun, it was a candle lighter. Everything that I've seen come out says deflect, deflect, deflect. He put out a little thing saying another weak apology. I don't think he's getting it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think he's getting it at all. And that doesn't even concern me at this point. At this point, you're Josh Gordon. You know the rules. If you just want to keep breaking them, I ain't worried about it, bro. If you don't care, I don't care. So I hope to be wrong. Ray Stradamus is not wrong often. We'll get into a topic later where you tapped into your Ray Stradamusness. But I was not impressed. I haven't been impressed by anything I've seen since. And that doesn't typically bode well for me. Again, I could be completely wrong. He may be getting a ton of help behind the scenes. I will also say I never criticized T. Morant because this is a grown man that makes a bunch of money. And what can your dad really say at this point? It is surprising how quiet he has been through all of this. Mm-hmm. For someone who is as vocal and as present during the season and at games, you don't have to come out and criticize your son. But I would have liked to hear a little something like, "Hey, we appreciate the support. Ja was going through a lot. Da 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 da. I believe he's going to get the help he needs. I believe things are great. I believe this." He ain't said nothing.
Now, what if the Ja Morant's team is telling him, to stay quiet because they don't want, not saying obviously it's his dad, and not saying that he's going to say the wrong thing, but what if they're telling him, "Hey man, just stay quiet. We're going to try to figure this out. We don't want the wrong message to get out there," type of thing. I feel like you said, he's shown that he is a big part of Ja's life, so I don't think he's going to not have his son's back. I'm just like you, curious on why he's not saying anything. The only conclusion I can come to is the only way he's quiet is the PR team is telling him to stay quiet.
So I would have went there with you if I didn't read reports today saying they feel like the NBA is targeting him.
Okay.
And they feel like the NBA is being unfair or whatever it is. I was also really confused by the NBA PA coming out saying they didn't like the punishment. Adam Silver told me, we already talked. We already good. So I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But Chris Paul got traded while he was on a flight and nobody even let him know. Listen, y'all know how I feel about Chris Paul. Y'all read the title of this show. But I think Chris Paul deserves a little bit more respect than that. Like, the way they treat players and handle players is they don't care. And so if I'm Ja Morant and his team, where's the good publicity? Zion, when all that stuff was going down, he spent like $250 on some kids. Like, are you doing community givebacks? Like, what are you doing to at least show that there is some form or level of contrition and that you've learned from your mistakes? 25 games to me sounds like if you thought that was them picking on you, that means you think you didn't even deserve that, which to me says you ain't getting it. This is not some game. This ain't 2K where you can just restart or rage quit. Like, this is real life. And I just don't understand the motive. I don't know who his representation is. I don't know who he's marketed by. Nike has chosen to stand behind him. I think a lot of people are standing behind him because they don't have no other choices. I don't know if you've looked at the Team USA roster that they're drafting at this point. Them jokers is losers. Like, ain't a superstar in sight. And so I think they need him to be the superstar until they can get Scoot or somebody else to step up that's marketable enough. And they look like losers and idiots to me. This was a mess. I'm glad. I have initially predicted a quarter of the year was my initial prediction before the reports started coming out. So I think I was spot on, but I just don't understand what's happening with the NBA and what they're doing.
Simple, bro. Simple. The NBA does, and we talk about it very often. They NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, they push certain players and they go all in like they're on the Texas Hold'em table way too early. And this is the Ja Morant situation. What did Ja Morant just get all that money? What, 2 years, a year and a half ago?
Last year.
Yeah, you're right. Right before everything started sparking up for him.
Right.
So you just, as an investment sake, you just put a boatload of money, all your money into this dude because you saw 3, 4, 5 times the return. And 6 months later, he in jail or he over here or, you know what I'm saying? So you look at it as that perspective, the NBA's tied into it. Nike's tied into it. There's a lot of other people in the background that invested their money in as well into that we don't see that are also tied into it. Like, well, how am I going to get my 100 mil back? How am I going to get my... So I think it's deeper. And I think that's also a double-edged sword on Ja, because I think 25, if it was a toy gun, 25 is right. But I would have added an extra reoccurrence fee. I'd added like an extra 10 games for even going down that route and of having to have that conversation after this. And I think that is the biggest thing here, whether it was the waving of a gun, whether it was real, whether it was fake, whether it was any of that, it was how soon, how quickly you were back in the spotlight for negative attention.
So
and
Jay,
your team was out the playoffs.
My question for you. Okay, I subscribe to the lighter gun, fake gun. So why flash it in the car?
So that goes back to what you were saying before I got on, and it goes back to just the narrative of Ja Morant's situation as a whole. You have idiots around you that don't give a damn about you, that don't give a damn what happens to you from here on out. They've already made it in their eyes. They sitting around Ja Morant, the starting point guard for Memphis. They drinking, they smoking, they doing whatever they want to do. It's free for them because they with their homeboy. This who they grew up with. Yeah, we waving. Oh, we got your back. They paying for him he paying for them as security guards to come out with him. Like, he's surrounded by a bunch of idiots. So that question, a logical answer, me and you would give it. You ask Ja and his homeboys that question, I guarantee there's 7 different answers that are coming. And that's kind of the narrative, I think, from the outside looking in of what Ja's dealing with.
So he grew up, I think he's from South Carolina, kind of rural area. Memphis is obviously a very dangerous place. He, Young Dolph, and others have suffered unfortunate events in Memphis. It's always at the list of worst crimes cities. Is it an issue where he owes somebody some money and so he feels like he needs to carry guns? If he was in Sacramento, if he was in I can't even say Milwaukee, North Dakota or Seattle don't got a team. If he was in Portland, is it the same? Is he a product of his local environment, or is he the problem in y'all opinion?
I'll let Chris go first on this one.
You still muted, Chris.
Repeat it one more time so I make sure I don't get a wrong answer.
My question is Ja the problem, or is he, like, for rappers? A lot of rappers get caught carrying guns. You say, you idiot, why would you have a gun? And they like, because if I don't have a gun, I could die.
True.
Do we think Ja's in a position where he needs these guns, or is he just aloof and he's the problem? If he was somewhere safer, would we still see these issues?
Well, I'll say this: when I saw the video of Ja Morant in the car, it looked like it was daytime. It looked like he was in a good area. And when he was in his car listening to music. But when it comes to basketball players, especially like that, yes, you could say your targets, you got hundreds of $1 million, you're wearing jewelry, you're going to nightclubs, this and the third. So it might be smarter for you hire your friends as security, or you have hired security to be armed. But for you to be armed, like I think his name is Simba. The rapper just came out, kind of dropped like a song towards Ja Morant. It was 100% right. It's not the environment. It's the music, the influence that it's having. Because he's riding around listening to Young Boy. My era, we listen to Young Boy. We speed. We having fun. But where in your mind does it say you're not going nowhere? You're in a parked car and your friend's on live. What are you flashing a gun for? Like who? Like nobody really cares that Ja Morant has a gun. I'll be honest, Ja. Like, yes, we love the way you just for the culture, black excellence, that's fine. You think we care that you have a gun? Nobody cares that these basketball players are toting guns. Who cares? Why are you toting guns in the first place? Now we're calling you the
everybody got guns out
Thank
here.
you.
So
everybody, you're not special having a gun. So, and it's not like you're a 17-year-old kid still back at home listening to music, putting on your close friends. Like, you're 20 plus years old, hundreds of $1 million. You have a life, you have a family. It's no cool points for you. It's no cool points at all. There's no cool points for you doing this. So again, I don't feel like when you say the area, right? Okay, he's in Memphis. Again, hire your friends of security, hire real security. But for you to have a gun on you, that's okay. It's fine. You have a gun on you. You got your gun license. You know, professional athletes have that. But for you to tote the gun like it's a cool thing, that's the big issue. So yes, to answer your question, in this instance, he's the loaf. He's the dummy.
Yeah, I gotta echo that because we've seen so many instances, and we can talk about rappers. We can talk about yes, sir. We could talk about rappers. We can talk about all that, man. And at the end of the day, man, the culture that we talk about needs change. The culture that we talk about isn't about being down and out, isn't about being this gangbanger. Ain't man, we have fun. There's a lot more to hip hop and black excellence and all this stuff that we're exerting than showing off guns and doing things of that nature. So I think Jaw's missing the boat. I think that Jaw is it's sad to say, but Jaw is taking that side that we hear about in the news and in the media that when they talk about you know, entertainers and the way that they carry themselves, you know, and how, you know, this is the side that they're focused on. Well, now we got this dude with hundreds of $1 million doing that. So it's a horrible example um, for young kids, and that's the worst part about Ja. Ja, you're not just out here playing ball. You're not just out here looking good playing ball, bro. You are appealing to 15-year-olds and down so hard. The little kids are watching you so tough. You know what I'm saying? That's the part. You know what I mean? What up, Day? Um, you know, that's the part that hurts me, man. It's the little kids that are running around him, seeing him getting giddy on the court, doing the gritty on the court, you know what I'm saying, and looking good doing what he's doing. And then next thing you know, he's listening to the NBA young boy just like them, waving guns. Like, what
Now
are
they
you
want and now they want to emulate it. That's my problem. Now they want to emulate it.
what picture you want to paint, bro? That's my problem with it.
Yeah. And just for context and kind of where that question came from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Finesse Two Times.
Yeah.
He's a rapper in Memphis. He just had an event this weekend, and I think 5 people got shot.
Yeah.
So I do understand the environment. I was trying to maybe give him a pass, but I don't know that one needs to definitely exist in this situation.
Hold up. Real 1 second before we go somewhere. Pull that comment up. Hold up. Yeah. Now, P, I totally understand what you're saying. However, it's not me and you that puts them as that. We are not controlling what's on the television and what the mental aspects of what they do has a what effect it has on the kids. We can't select. Me and you can sit here and talk to her blue in her face. We can't select who the role models are for the children, bro. We can't do that. The kids decided.
But I also
Sadly,
disagree. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, not the age of, but only because I was the last person to really be a kid. Like,
All right.
Obviously, you know, parents have influence. Like, you know, I remember at one point in time, my father didn't want me to watch SpongeBob, and you know, but at the end of the day, I was still 8 years old listening to Lil Wayne. I was still in middle school listening to Nipsey Hussle. I was still middle school, elementary school listening to these quote unquote gangster rappers. And never in my mind I want to say, man, I want to go out here and do this, that, and the third. I would see all these people, you know, I would watch movies. Everything these kids are seeing and doing, you know, I would be doing and watching the same thing, and had my own choice of who I wanted my influences to be. But I felt like I knew right from wrong the right way. And yes, you may dibble and dabble on the wrong thing because that's what's cool, that's what's going on. But I don't blame any real parents for a kid picking a role model, because at the end of the day, the kid's gonna have a choice on what they want to be when they grow up. You know, I laugh and when I heard the whole Charles Barkley interview back in the day say he's not a role model because, like, okay, you dribble a basketball. If we're being honest, you know, I love what John Morant, all the money these guys have, but at the end of the day, you dribble a basketball. Your role model, why not look up to a lawyer? Why
Right.
not look up to a doctor? Why not look up to a teacher? You know, it's only so much somebody that dribbles a basketball can really teach me. And this is no offense to these guys because they might do stuff outside of basketball, like Magic Johnson, like LeBron, like all
Magic
these guys.
did a lot outside of basketball.
Like, yeah, like Carmelo that's doing all these great things outside of basketball. But at the end of the day, you dribble a basketball. So there's only so much. If I don't want to be a professional basketball player, what am I really learning from you? So that's what I feel like kids should sometimes look at when they look at their best, their favorite athletes. Like, okay, if you're not wanting to do this professional, who cares? Why would you emulate what they do outside of what they do in between those lines? It's not going to benefit you.
Right. And
go ahead, Jay, and then I'll jump in. Oh, God said they were sick of hearing them nonsense. Listen, let's get to this for what's real. You named doctors, lawyers, and all that. Guess what? Them jokers is crooks too. They just don't got cameras in their face all the time. And rest in peace to Jackie O, but a doctor just killed her. Like, doctors have malpractice suits all the time. Lawyers get paid to take takes. We seen Tory Lane's lawyer. It was a dog doo-doo. Like, human society is just broken. It's not to say that as a role model, you got to be perfect. But you got to have like common decency. LeBron James, by all accounts, is a phenomenal role model. There's nothing wrong with that. Tom Brady, for in a lot of ways, Peyton Manning, there are a ton of entertainers and celebrities that can be role models. And if you pitch products and you sell products and you're responsible, your wealth comes from people buying your product, you are a role model. Charles Barkley said that in a commercial. Like, they're selling something. 2 kids, but you're going to say, I'm not a role model. Yes, you are, because you want those kids to go buy your shoes. And the only reason they buy your shoes is because they watch you play and they know who you are. And that turned you into a TNT analyst for the last 20 to 25 years. So this idea that athletes are not role models or can't be role models is just false. I think Steph Curry is a phenomenal role model. I see what Reggie Bush has done. I see too many athletes doing too much good to say athletes shouldn't be role models. And it's not lazy parenting, in my opinion. Parenting is hard.
No, I'll say this. Before you go into that, because there's a point where we got to understand. Not every kid has a double-headed household. Not every kid has a head of a household. So, and 100%, P, we can't say a blanket statement that role models or an athlete.
All parents is not a role model.
Correct. And I think that the one thing that my point of this is we don't decide who the role models are.
That's true.
Again, we don't decide. We don't know what the kid that is walking into the stadium that day to see a game or turning on ESPN to watch that game is going through in his life. We don't know what his escapes are. We don't know what he's looking at the TV and seeing and how he's conveying and interpreting what's going on and that what he's observing. So again, I'm not putting a blanket on any of it. I agree with what you said earlier, Chris. I agree with everything you've said so far, Ray. And at the end of it all, we don't decide who the role models are. And that's why when we see these guys on the television having this platform and having the ability to be a great role model, especially like we were saying, John Morant, you are one of the most watched by the young kids. You are their Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. You are that guy to them right this moment because you're growing with them. They're growing with you.
Yeah.
When I was young, it was Kobe, it was Charles, and then, you guys had Kobe, the latter half, and LeBron. And so this is how we grow. We watch what we watch. As kids, I was watching those guys. These kids are watching Ja Morant. Steph Curry's old to them. LeBron James is old to them. Those guys are on their way out. So we have to look at
the LaMelos, the
right.
Zions.
We got to look at it in that perspective. And Ja's like, Zion was up there and then he fell down. You know what I mean?
I just had to put that jab in there for Ray.
Hey.
Good. But no, I just think, I think it's also foolish a little bit because we have role models like that. I remember the Allen Iverson commercial with Jadakiss. I I'm a huge Ye fan. Like Ye helped save my life. So I think it's foolhardy to say they're not role models. Blanket statement, no, because it's some bad dudes in sports, but it's bad dudes everywhere. I think you got to have some kind of education at home that says, hey, you like John Morant, focus on his work ethic. Focus on how, as a small man, he's managed to navigate this. But you also kind of parent and say, hey, this stuff he's doing is some bull crap. And you can't do that stuff because you can watch it all go away and it can be a lesson. So I think that's a role. He can still is being a role model. I think the parenting aspect, I think to P's point is, okay, now that we're seeing some struggle, now you can come in and say, hey, I know you like this guy. He's still maybe a good guy, but you can't be doing that stuff.
Right.
Because if you do that stuff, you don't lose 25 games. It could cost you your life and your freedom. And they might not care that it was a fake gun. And God forbid you have some charges. Boosie's right now in a situation because of a gun in his back pocket on IG Live. There's a bunch of those situations that one guy was on IG Live and he's okay. There's another guy on IG Live that now has a federal indictment against him. So this whole playing with guns on the internet that y'all think is so cool ain't cool. There are consequences and repercussions for these kind of actions. And that, I think, is where parenting needs to come in. It ain't going to come from sports talking heads because they get paid to pay the narrative. It ain't going to come from the Memphis Grizzlies because they clearly have no control. As a parent, if you see your children involved in certain things, you got to know when to step in and when to say, hey, that's good. Hey, that's not so good. And I think if we could do that better cohesively without tearing one another down, I think that helps. But in the world in which we live in, everybody's going for the clicks. So they go crazy with it. I hope this is it. Like, I don't know what else he wants out of anybody, but he
can't want nothing else out of anybody. He can't want nothing else out of anybody. This is all about him from here on out. You've already gotten everything from everybody. You got, honestly, he lucky. Adam, the one that's running the shit right now.
Oh, because
Goodell ran the NBA.
Not even whatchamacallit. Don't you feel like I can't even think of his name.
The one before Adam.
David Stern.
Woo! His last name is Stern.
David Stern.
Ron Artest got hit with a cup. He then went into the stands and lost 80 games. He got assaulted first. And he got 80 games. Or 73, whatever it was.
It's definitely different. But I'm excited about this next topic, though.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
get to it.
Another thing I predicted. Jay was here when I predicted Chris Paul to the Suns. You know, so when it comes to my predictions, what did I tell you about Beal and his contract? But I'll listen, you go off, and I'm just going to say I told you so. That's fine.
Actually,
I want to hear Ray first.
Yeah,
I want to hear Ray first.
Let me
we got to hear Ray first.
Listen. As I said, every time on here they clown me. I support all Washington teams. I'm loyal to a fault. Shout out Free Tory Lanez as well. Drop some.
Oh man, that was wow.
But listen, there is a limit to fandom and fanaticism, and at a certain point, like common sense has to step in. You have a guy that you are likely going to retire his number, put him in your ring of honor, that you gave 200, the highest paid. And a year later, now that you can finally see what the heck you got, you trade him away for a beat down, broke down Chris Paul, a useless Landry Shamet, and second round picks and pick swaps. I just watched Minnesota destroy their franchise trying to get Rudy Gobert, who's trash. And you have a guy that led the league in scoring, can score from all levels, can facilitate an offense, and you traded him for nothing. Like, who did they hire to evaluate Bradley Beal's value? Like, I can't for the life of me. I would rather trade for Russell Westbrook at this point. Like, bring Russ back if we just going to be giving away your superstar talent. The same thing I said about Wemby and San Antonio. I kept trying to explain to Kenny. People will come and play with him. Nobody wants to come and play in DC. We have nothing. Kuzma's already talking about there's too many people on the plane. He's out. Kristaps Porzingis, not the answer. So what the heck do you have? You're selling tickets to come see Chris Paul and Landry Shamet and some second-round picks?
This is so beautiful. This is
Like
music to my ears.
The lack of competence that is going on within that organization is just befuddling. From drafting Otto Porter at third and Kwame One and all these other useless trash picks, Troy Brown Jr. What the heck are y'all doing? You had one piece, and you gave it away for nothing. Chris Paul probably will not even wear a Wizards jersey. So what the heck did you get?
Cap space.
We don't need to get who?
Second round picks, you might find a hidden gem.
So we just gonna go get the next Joker in the second round? What history do we have as a franchise of drafting second round picks that turn into anything?
You might get Monty Bates, man. You know?
We had Thomas Bryant, traded him. Rui, traded him. Otto, traded him. What the heck are we drafting for?
Your best second round pick was Kwame Brown.
Like, when I heard the report, like I heard the Miami offer, Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero or something like that. Even Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, I can get behind that and some picks. Chris Paul? Like, did y'all see how he looked last year? Did you watch him play?
Jay did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless they can turn Chris Paul into something, I'm done.
They're gonna turn him into a cheesecake walk. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be.
And that's the other part. That's so dumb. You didn't even get a third team already involved, so now you have no leverage. They know you don't want Chris Paul. So now, why am I going to give you anything of value? Like, just idiocy. There better be something else coming, because this might be the dumbest trade I've ever seen in my life. Like, the dumbest.
I mean, you got to look at it from Bradley Beal's perspective.
This is so funny, man.
It's beautiful, actually.
Only because it's just, I'm going to let you go, Jay. But again, like I said, I told you so. I'll go after Jay, though. Jay, go ahead and speak your piece, man, because your team just got a guy.
Hey,
talk about it.
We got to talk about it in halves. So the first half of this is to respond to you. Bro, first of all,
you're welcome.
I knew you. I appreciate you. I knew it was going downhill when you guys did the Porzingis stuff. Once John Wall started throwing up the bees on lives and John Wall got shipped out, y'all should have moved from Beal back then. Y'all should have moved from Beal right then and there when you guys had the most momentum. This ship wouldn't have been like this. You guys were a sinking Titanic for a while. And the worst part about I ain't gonna say the worst because that's my second half of this story. But the thing that should upset you is that now Porzingis is gone, but with them getting second round picks and swaps for Beal, they got no barter. They got no barter power, bruh. You was handing out Skittles outside of the school last week, and now you telling me you want some gold nuggets? Nah, it ain't about to happen. So I think you guys are about to get screwed with the Porzingis. Like when they said this is about to be a total rebuild,
God Almighty,
man, y'all gonna be running around with an AAU team here in a minute.
And it ain't like we got a top 5 pick. We got the 8th pick. So what the heck are you rebuilding around?
Well, they should have rebuilt 2 years ago. They shouldn't have went into the Porzingis stuff. Shouldn't have happened. There shouldn't have been this, and that's where they're messed up. The only thing that you guys have on your side is Kuzma still under contract?
No,
free agent.
Okay.
There's nothing. Like Alex said, there's nothing.
Yeah, you kind of right. Oh boy, I thought Kuzma was still over there
No.
for the year. Oh, you guys ain't got no poker chips.
Listen, talk about it.
And
'Cause
that's
you know,
the thing that
talk about
that's
it because
the
you
part
know
that
I
doesn't
am.
make sense. I disagree. I think you can build around Beal and Kuzma.
I don't believe you can build around Beal anymore in there because he doesn't want to be there, bro. You
That's
guys
not true.
wasted.
I think he does. I think he realized he didn't want to be around for a rebuild. But we didn't have to rebuild. We have money. Porzingis money is coming off the books. There's no one else there. You can go get some stuff. This is a decent crop of free agents. You can build a lot of like the KCPs. There's a lot of value in this free agency. They're not huge names. There is team building value in this free agency class, and all your money was tied up in only one guy.
And that was the problem. That was the problem. You got
But you have money.
but you're not comparing. You're not comparing this right. You're gonna go up against Milwaukee after this. You're gonna go up. Look at New York. Look how bad New York. I mean, New York did decent this year, and they still got a lot of holes to fill. You can't even compete with New York right off the bat.
The East just let an 8 seed go to the finals. It's open. Milwaukee's going to be different.
Don't do Jimmy
Middleton
like
is
that.
on his way out. That team, everybody's going to look different.
They're
Boston
gonna look
probably will
different,
look
but they
different.
still.
Philly's going to look different. Atlanta's probably going to look different. The only team that might stay the same is Cleveland and New York. Chicago's going to look different. Detroit
But still,
is Detroit.
bro, I don't think there's no one you guys could have just went out and got. Did you look at your roster outside of Porzingis, Bill, and Kuzma?
Yeah, there are guys. There's some
Second
guys
round-
on the team.
Those were the
Nothing special.
second round swaps. those were the
Like
second round
like
swaps.
that's the other part. No first round picks. None.
No,
Listen,
we don't
listen.
have any
So why did we trade him to you?
because his daddy works over there.
Listen, let me know when it's time for
I
me
didn't
to
even
cook.
get to that part. I didn't get to that part.
That was part 2.
Go ahead, Jay or
Cook,
Chris,
bro.
whoever.
No, go ahead, Chris.
I told you so. What did I tell you? Why are you giving? You're not a good team. You're honestly not a poverty franchise, but you're not making the playoffs or competing in the playoffs. I understand you want to take care of your players, but look at it through a business perspective. Why are you getting a guy that obviously wants to win on a terrible team with no trade clause? I told
think you should do that.
and again, okay, and have fun suffering. Because what did I tell you as a Washington Wizards fan? You're going to trade him, and you're not going to get back. You're not going to anything. You're not going to like anything you get back. Because when a player has a no trade clause, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to. You're not going to get a team friendly deal. Like if he had no trade clause, oh my God, the first round picks, the amount of young talent y'all could have had would be what you would have had it. But because he has a no trade clause, now you have to settle for a 45-year-old Chris Paul.
There were better deals available.
Where?
But he did not want to go there, so it does not matter. It doesn't matter.
Then keep him. Did you see what Brooklyn did with KD at first?
Again,
They said, no, we're
that's
not trading
fine.
you until
That's
a better
fine.
deal came. And where'd he go? Freaking Phoenix.
regardless,
And look what they got back.
it doesn't matter because you gave him the no trade clause.
Right.
What did Bradley Beal ever do to deserve a no trade clause? I don't care how much he means to that franchise.
That's how you take care of your players. That's what you should do.
Now you want
called
to take
bad
care of
business.
look. Now he wants to take care of his players. Are you a fan of the name on the back of the jersey or front of the jersey?
Both.
Let me know. Both. Okay.
Both of them.
And that's why you're conflicted on how to feel right now.
I'm not
Because-
conflicted. This was
Because-
dumb.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Okay, yeah, I love Embiid. Embiid doesn't deserve a no trade clause. I love Embiid. He does not deserve it. It's only about 3-4 players
in the
that
NBA.
deserve a no trade clause.
Right.
Embiid's not one of them. I
No.
love Embiid. You can't listen. Y'all know I love Embiid. Embiid does not deserve a no trade clause. Okay,
Jimmy Butler.
no.
No.
Oh,
Heck
I would
no.
put Jimmy
No,
Butler in
no.
no trade clause.
Listen to
I
me.
think out of everyone,
To me,
that's one
okay,
of the people.
okay.
Hey,
You know,
Jay,
debatable. But
you
look,
don't think
for
Devin
me,
Booker deserves the no trade clause?
Giannis. You ready? This is my list: Giannis, Curry, Jokic, maybe LeBron. Those are my
No.
four.
LeBron's too old to have
Yeah,
no
he's too old.
Those are
But my
those
four
are
is
definitely
Booker.
my 3. If I had to add one, Tatum. If I had to add one,
Booker
obviously
over
this-
Tatum all day.
You skip it over Booker. on purpose.
No, I'm not.
You
Y'all
have
named
to.
Booker. What I'm going to bring him up for if you already named him, and I agreed.
Oh.
So I didn't disagree.
Oh, I didn't say. I didn't.
Oh, I didn't hear you agree.
I didn't disagree. But if I disagree, I gotta say something. But my point, let me hit it off like this. Bradley Beal did nothing to deserve a no trade clause, and I knew that y'all were not going to get a good trade package back because y'all best deal y'all probably could have got was maybe from Miami, maybe. But I don't know how much other teams was ready to give up for a guy that's aging and injured. Okay, not saying he's trash at all. Not saying he's trash. I just don't know what type of deal y'all would have got back. It definitely would have been better than this deal. But this no trade clause, man, I tried to warn you on how terrible it was going to end. Honestly, the Suns, and then I saw somewhere that said that this is only a C+ trade for the Suns. That blew my mind. But
that's only because of the money. Y'all got
the money. Yeah, obviously the
money
money's ridiculous. But if you got somebody that wants to pay for it, then I'm not looking into that. As far as basketball wise, that's how I rate my trades. Basketball. This is an F for the Wizards. And, I'm not even going to speak on what I think about the Suns right now because this is all about the Wizards. I am scared for the future of this franchise because when I look at other teams that traded away their top guy and the compensation they got back, the Pelicans and the trade draft picks they got back, the OKC, the Brooklyn Nets, even the Sixers, we was trading away all our guys and all the picks we got. When I'm looking at the Wizards right now and the fact that they literally let that happen with no first round picks or not another young piece of player, it's ridiculous. You literally got Landry. You're going to move off Chris Paul. He's not going to be Wizards for this long. Landry Shamet, I mean, a team might want him. They might want another shooter. But all second round picks, I like, honestly, the Wizards really got rid of Bradley Beal for nothing. Honestly, this should be the franchise they draft and move to Vegas or move to Seattle.
No, don't take this franchise to Vegas. Don't take this franchise in no populous city like that. They got to go into like somewhere else.
Like
this is bad.
This is bad.
This is bad.
So that was part one. Now let's move to the positive side of things.
You want to talk about what's that word that they use? That where you talk to somebody and you ain't supposed to be able to talk to them. This is what that was. Whatever that thing is, tampering. This is tampering. This is wrong. Hey, Adam Silver needs to step in. That's a better idea. Adam Silver. Hey, Chris Paul's had a trade declined before by the league. Adam Silver, you're on the clock. You need to step in. This is wrong. This is wrong.
Y'all draft so horrible. You got to put Adam Silver on the clock for it.
We all really do draft terrible. Like, I feel like y'all had the first pick. Y'all got Scoot Henderson because y'all have Kristaps Porzingis. Like, it's bad. It's bad.
It came out with a Monty. It came out amazing.
And that's the part. Like, I understand teams that draft for a lot of draft picks if you are good at drafting. We're not good at drafting. So, and they were definitely not good at second round pick.
So if you're not good at drafting,
what are y'all good at?
Nothing.
That's what you have to ask yourself right now. But
we drafted Beal and we drafted Wall. Outside of that, it's been
maybe Jordan coming back.
No, he's trying to get out the league. He wanted to get as far away from these losers as possible.
So look, I would say this. I think that I'm gonna go to the positive side of things. So
positive for who?
For the Suns, I don't know who, because Chris, I saw that shit too. I don't know who in the world put the C grade.
Yeah, that was terrible.
You should not be allowed to write an article for a year. You should be penalized like Ja. That was absurd. But that was at the very least an A minus. And the only thing, because the money is the money, but if we really want to be real and we look at all the luxury taxes and we look at all the teams that have been winning championships over the past 15 years.
They pay that money.
Thank you. Golden States, the Lakers, we can do it all. So when you look at that, Matt Ishbia, I said this the other day. Think about Mark Cuban. When Mark Cuban came in the league, he was slapping them up, paying money out, and he built his team overnight, it seemed like. We were like, Dallas, what the? They went out and got Terry. They went out and got Kidd. They were doing their thing. Matt Ishbia is coming just as hard as he did when he came in. Just as hard as Mark Cuban. Okay? The only thing that was iffy for me is I do not want Booker as my point guard. I do not want Booker as my point guard.
I think Bill's going to have to play more of the point guard role in campaign. Bill can be a
Campaign
good
won't be there.
facilitator.
Campaign won't be there. We're gonna get rid of campaign.
So y'all got to build the team too.
Right. But we're gonna get rid of campaign. I think that there's guards out there that play better defense that we can get for a little bit cheaper.
Like who?
Cheaper
than campaign?
What's campaign salary at this next year? Hold on. What was Pat Connaughton pay contract paid?
Pat Connaughton?
Yep.
He's not a point guard.
But we're going to be playing positionless basketball, bro.
Somebody has to
Kevin Durant.
If y'all don't have a point guard, y'all got to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. He's trash anyway. What are you going to do with no point guard?
Well, here's the thing. If with this trade, one of the two are playing point, period.
Campaign signed a 3-year, $19 million contract. So average salary of 6.3. That's nothing.
So let's see who had some minimums last year. Let's see who was on a minimum as a guard, because they don't have to be a point guard. That's the thing. It depends on who we're playing at each night. If you're playing,
you could look at the Clippers and you could say when they had Terrence Mann at point guard, but I think y'all do need. I don't know. Me personally, when I look at the Clippers' downfall, I think not injuries. Well, yes, injury plays a part, but I do think it wouldn't hurt for y'all to have a guy that can make plays for others. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah,
I just don't know how y'all pay anybody.
Yeah, I mean, a Dennis Schroeder is a guy that's honestly going to be in y'all tax bracket. A Pat Bev.
I like Dennis Schroeder
for pieces.
A Javon Carter. He's going to be there.
And Javon Carter would work. These are guys that would work for this. Reggie
Jackson's too much of a shooter.
I need defense. I need more defense.
It's going to be a Javon Carter or Dennis Schroeder, or honestly your best bet.
I like either of them.
You're not going to.
But those are the guys we're going to be looking at, guys. We're not going to be looking at.
I know what y'all looking at. I know. Trust me.
I don't think campaign's going to be on the team next year. Campaign's too scoring minded. You're gone. We're not worried about that next year. The only thing that will keep campaign on this team is his hustle. He hustled his butt off last year. He was doing plays that other guys weren't hitting the ground for. That is the only thing that gives him a 1-up. Outside of that, campaign's gone.
I don't know. Yeah, Chris Porzingis has a player option for this year. So I don't know. He might opt in. It's 31.
He has to.
36.
He better get traded. He better opt in.
We're talking about opting out and opting in. I can't wait for this.
Like,
what's old Ben's name over in New Orleans?
Which one?
Not Drew Holiday.
CJ
McCollum?
No, the backup.
The guy that Alvarado.
See, I want to hustle.
He's a good guy, but that's why I said like your range is a Schroeder, Javon Carter,
Kobe White.
You think Alvarado is going to get a decent contract this next year?
I don't think he's a free agent right now.
Corey Joseph is
too old.
I can mess with Corey.
But Corey gets paid $5+. He's going to get a cheap deal though.
What about Joe Ingles? I think he's coming up as a free agent. I would take Joe.
But do you start him?
Bench? No, put Joe on the bench.
Austin Rivers.
Nah, too scoring.
Too scoring minded.
Dellavedova.
All right, you're trolling.
Yeah,
you're trolling. You're
trolling.
Where's Dragic at?
You're trolling. Raw Neto. Dragic's still a free agent. All right. Real quick. This is a personal beef. I would never disrespect NBA players ever.
Oh man.
But if I had to empty out my bank account against me going one-on-one with somebody, if I had ball first, and you're an NBA, so I need point spotted, and we can play spots, 3 dribbles. I'm putting everything I own against me beating Raul Neto. Now that's a personal beef. It's a personal beef when he was with the Sixers. Personal beef.
He was solid.
We don't got to talk about it. I just got every time I hear his name, a switch flips in my brain and instant frustration comes.
Oh man.
But to you,
Sure.
before we get off of the Suns, we move on.
Mhm.
I can't move on without talking about Aiden, because here's and I wanna put this to you now, because we talked about this all year last year, and you was just ragging on us. We had to get rid of them. We can't win with them. Blah 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 blah. Two things. Number one, Frank Vogel, Roy Hibbert.
Mhm.
Number two, our biggest issues with him were aggressiveness on the offensive end of the basketball court.
Mhm.
He no longer has to score the basketball. 15 rebounds, 12 rebounds, a block or two, maybe a deflection that turns out to be a steal, maybe 6 to 8 points. We're in there.
That's terrible. I gotta cut you off. That's.
You do
I'll
realize
I mean,
this is
honestly,
not
though.
I'm gonna let you finish. I want to speak.
Oh yeah,
before
let
Ray.
him finish. But
I'm gonna let you finish.
You,
I'm gonna let you finish.
you,
I want to speak before Ray.
woo-wee.
Though.
And
cannot wait.
the reason why I say this, man, because if we can block, if he can protect the rim 1 to 2 blocks a game, and that will change probably with 1 to 2 blocks and a little aggression, that'll probably change 10 to 15 shots around the rim a game. Rebounding the basketball, I just need you to box out. I don't need you to get the 20 boards. I need you to box out. We got another 7-footer on the floor now. And Kevin Durant. We got another hustle guy with Booker who somehow be finding the ball when he needs to. Depending on who else we put on the floor at the number 3, Okoji's another hustle guy. So I need you to box out Jokic. I need you to box out Bam Adebayo. I need you to box out Embiid and just make sure they're not the first person to make contact with the ball. That's all I need you to do. So I think it kind of pivots what we're using Ayton for.
Listen, let me be abundantly clear. As bad as we have drafted, DeAndre Ayton's a disaster. And what you just laid out is not a max player. What you laid out is Bismack Biyombo.
Actually, that's who I want to be our starter.
Like, the fact that is what you are now reducing DeAndre Ayton to just is more indication of how trash I thought he already was. And all that stuff you mentioned, those are heart things. You got to have heart to go grab rebounds. You got to have heart to block shots. You got to have heart to do all that crap. He don't got it. That's my whole issue with him. He don't have the dog. He don't have the heart. We watched him quit on y'all multiple times as far as I'm concerned. That highlight reel under the basket where he just stood there, that was this past year. He got benched the year before. They didn't give him the ball because he's not good. If you don't trade DeAndre Ayton and go get a couple pieces that will help solidify your depth, you can get a whole lot of people for $20 million a year. Y'all need pieces. Y'all don't need him. He's useless to y'all. He's a paperweight.
Can I go?
A dumpster fire of a player that
Both
y'all need
both
to
of y'all
ship
are
out
crazy.
as fast as
Hey, Chris,
possible.
Both
I
of
ain't
y'all
on
are
this.
crazy.
I ain't on this craziness.
Both of y'all are crazy. Now I gotta go. I'm sorry. Jay, let me address you first. The fact that a number 1 pick, a guy that is averaging 18 with no real plays calling for him, and you want him to average 8 and 10 is disrespectful not only to your team and your wishes for him, but yeah, basically you're disrespecting your team because he's a guy that can be a offensive not juggernaut, but a guy that can help your team. So I'm about to say Chris Paul. So Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are shooting 25, 20 footers every time down the court, having to take a tough shot. He could be that difference maker. When I look at his best year, you know what his best year was? Before Chris Paul came. That was his best year, if I'm not mistaken.
When he was outside of that,
when he wasn't, because when Chris Paul's there, everybody loves Chris Paul. He's this, he's that. He's going to dribble for 15 seconds. He's going to run a pick and roll. And as a center, the only job you're allowed to do is do a dunk off this lob or lay the ball up. You're not allowed to have any offensive talent. And when I look at why he was drafted there,
that wasn't why he was drafted.
That was not why he was drafted there. He wasn't a lob threat. He wasn't a Clint Capella where he's standing at the paint. He was a guy that has a post game, which he still does, a mid-range game, which he still does, and a good offensive touch. and he's still averaging 18 points on 12 shots on almost 60% from the field without any real plays being called for him. And yes, we're questioning his heart, we're questioning all these things, but what I won't do is question his offensive talent, because when he's on, he wants to play. There's not 10 offensive centers better than him. When it comes to rebounds, he's getting you 8 to 10 a game. When it comes to defense, you, Ray, calling this guy a bum, saying they need to trade him. They don't, because he can be and should be and will be that difference maker for that team if they make a run. It will be DeAndre Ayton.
When has he ever done that, Chris?
Let me finish.
Okay.
When you have a guy in Kevin Durant and you know what he's going to do, a guy in Bradley Beal, you know what he's going to do, a guy now in Booker, you know what he's going to do. Bringing Bill, yes, may take back his offensive shots, but those are 3 perimeter-minded players. You're going to need somebody that can be a force in the paint, that can deal with a switch, that can do something and have not 2 thumbs and 2 left feet, but a guy that can score the ball inside the paint. Again, not saying he's the best center in the league, but to reduce him to 8 to 10 points, I think y'all are really underestimating him. And again, yes, we're going to question his heart. We're going to question his consistency. But at the end of the day, when you look at when he's at his best, or even his damn averages, his averages are 18 and 10 without anything really being called for him, without him and his coach getting along. So you mentioned Frank Vogel and a guy in Roy Hibbert who we forget about. He's 10 times more talented than Roy Hibbert. So if you look at what happened when AD was playing with 2 bigs over there in LA. I don't think Frank Vogel had anything to do with that. But let's just say he does. To me, DeAndre Ayton will be the X factor for this team. I think getting rid of Chris Paul was the best thing this team could have done, because Chris Paul, to me, reduces the talent for his centers or his big men on his team.
Yeah. To respond to that, I wasn't saying I want him to average 8 to 10. I was saying that at this point, with the offensive firepower that we introduced to the squad, we do not need his 18 points. That was my point. The center position that what we've created on the team offensively, we don't need 18 from our center right now. And if we could have him focus his energy and talents on the defensive side of the ball and the rebounding and more of the help rebounding, the team rebounding portion, that's more of what I was trying to aim on. Because DeAndre's gonna get, we've seen it, there's been streaks where he had 10 games where he done got 12 to 15 rebounds every single game. We know he's capable, but with the way that we're built now, if he can box out and keep these good rebounders who have given us trouble in the past off the boards more for our other guys like Kevin, or some of the guys that we bring in that are scrappy and energetic, that are hustlers, that are going to be able to get there, that's going to help us out a lot more than him with his 10 and 18 or 18 and 10. And I just think that. So I don't want the dude to average 8 and 10. I'm just saying, if he changes the focus, I think this could be a lot better of a situation for us.
Now, real quick, Ray, to that point, then to Ray's point, if that's what all you need from him, y'all should look into trying to trade him, bring back some more depth, and maybe find a center that can do the same thing. Because when I look, depth doesn't mean everything, but it's something. You need at least an 8-man rotation, at least regular season with the injury bugs that your team has. You really want 9 to 10. Playoffs.
Every championship team needs key role players.
At least 1 to 2.
Gary Payton the fourth, if it's him, if it's
you look at a Bruce
Taylor
Brown,
Morton,
he was the only guy
Bruce
really
Brown,
coming off the bench for the Nuggets.
KCP?
One guy.
No, KCP. Well, he didn't come off the bench, but he's still a role player.
I'm talking about bench guys. I'm not talking
Christian
about
Braun came off the bench.
Yeah, Christian Braun. But Christian Braun was a flash in the pan later on in the playoffs.
Thank you. We're talking about one. We're talking about a key guy. I'm not talking about
Bruce was there the whole time.
Bruce Brown.
Listen,
I'm not talking about a guy that's going to run up and down the court and get hustle stuff. I'm talking about that one.
You need that during the season to save your other players' legs. Y'all are
every team got that. We talking about a consistent guy. Every team got a guy that can run up and down the court.
Miami
For
had
regular
a rotation
season-
of those guys. You can't. Those role players are role players because they're not going to be that
Ray,
consistent.
during the regular
That's why they're
season,
role players.
Ray,
All right,
during the
the
regular
trade for
season,
the whole
we
Wizards
can
roster. Y'all
roll.
should have got the whole Wizards roster. The whole Wizards
Look,
roster's role players.
We suck.
So baby, choke 'em up.
Don't come get our players. Hey, Thomas Bryant just won a chip.
Let me put it like this, Ray. We could
Ish Smith
take,
won a chip. He played for us
we can
too.
sign Saban Lee back and a couple other role players from
For
the
the regular
G League
season.
for the regular season.
We're talking
and
about the
be
playoffs.
top 3 in the freaking West, top 2 in the West, bro. That's not the issue.
This was the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That
Listen,
one guy.
if
You
you
all
think-
you need is that one
Chris,
guy.
let's do this then, Chris. What is Ayton gonna average next year? Since you so high on him, what are you gonna do next year?
It depends on who we add.
Whoa, I'm
no, I
talking
got
to
you. I
Chris.
got you. I got you.
I'm
Bringing
talking
in,
Chris.
bringing in Bradley Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Got to consider the fact that KD's going to be there the whole season. One
When
of
was the
those-
last time that happened?
I mean, I'm talking about he's starting the season with the Suns. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
He didn't start the season with the Suns last year.
You're right. I'll give
So
you that.
they weren't offensive minded towards Kevin Durant. Having him in all season, I feel like they're going to they're going to want to use Kevin Durant like he's Kevin Durant. So considering all the factors, I think he averages no less than 15 to 14 points next year.
You do realize that he's going to get paid $32.5 million next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And y'all are going to pay somebody $32.5 million average 14 points?
I mean, all right, look. So let's look at it like this.
How dumb is that?
No. Let's look at it like this. I'm not disagreeing with you because I do think if that's what y'all want him to have, y'all should look at trade options. But this is all I'm going to say. Kevin Durant, 25. Booker, 25. Bill, 20. That's 65 points. How many points are you scoring on average? 100, 105? We got 40 points left with about 6 players.
None of them can get it.
15
So-
points, 15 to 16, 14 to 15 points. Now the rest of them got to get 25 out of 4 or 5 players. I don't think that's bad math.
Look.
I hear what you're saying, but y'all are paying him 32.5 to get destroyed by the bigs.
Look,
That
I mean,
these are the centers.
go. All right, when we say this, we can't get mad at no big making money averaging doodoo, and then I'll talk about Rudy
I'm
Gobert.
not mad. Get your money, young man. Let's
Because
be clear.
Rudy Gobert got that crazy contract that
And that
started it
looks
all.
dumb.
That started it all, and against every good center in the NBA, he got trashed. And against every good team that knew how to have an offense, he was not on the court.
But
So
I
again,
just want
at
to
least
break this
Ayton is
part
going to
down.
have a role.
I just want to break this part down because Ray, you really harp on Ayton, like really harp on.
Now, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead, because I already
There's
got my
nobody-
rebuttal.
There's nobody else, bro. There's nobody else.
But
Jared
now,
Allen's down
I ain't
here.
gonna lie, I see one name that will forever fit for y'all.
now answer
That
me this.
right there.
Answer me that. I've been saying that. I said
all
he
been
was better
saying
than DeAndre Ayton last year. And
Well,
y'all thought
I didn't
crazy.
say he was better, but I said
but
he's
better.
a better fit.
But
Listen,
I'm glad you said that. Hold on.
Now,
Before you
he's
skip
not-
over that,
Terrible
Wait.
rebounder.
how much
The
are
only
those
difference-
guys making?
Terrible
Who?
rebounder though.
Anybody under Ayton that you want to compare him to, how much are they making compared to what he's making?
I mean,
Okay,
you
so
gotta
under-
understand the difference. One, and
what's Jared Allen making?
Jared Allen's making a good amount of money.
What's
We're not
Rudy
about to do
Gobert
that.
making?
A great amount of money.
Rudy
We're not
Gobert is
about to-
above him.
No, he ain't. Let me put it back up there for you. Hold on now. Hold on, son.
Nah,
What is
hell
this?
no. Gobert
What
averaged
is,
30
what,
Gobert averaged 13 points this year.
Yeah,
oh,
Rudy
is this-
Gobert.
what is this
14.
column that you're highlighting?
This
That's
is scoring.
sorted.
Jared Allen's making 20 million a year.
No,
Scoring.
what is that?
Jared Allen's making 20 million a year.
Scoring.
Points per game?
Correct.
Well, yeah, I don't expect Rudy Gobert to be points per game. He's not
Jared,
going to
Jared,
score on that
again,
offense.
Jared Allen's making 20 mil.
So Ayton,
Aiden's making 32. He's making 12 mil more.
that's a lot a
But-
year.
but-
and
but-
Ayton's going to go up every year.
We can't. It's hard to compare contracts when you gotta look at when they signed them and the difference of everything that's going on.
And so, would you rather pay Jared Allen 20 or Ayton 32.5
Depends what you need from your team.
on any team?
No, I think
Don't
that
say on
DeAndre
any.
Ayton's.
Don't say on any
I think
team.
DeAndre Ayton's a
On what
better.
team would you rather pay
hold on.
DeAndre Ayton 32 and a
If
half?
If you need a guy to fit a role, we're talking about a specific role.
Right.
All you need him
Pick
to
a
do is
team.
no. Okay, let me finish, Ray. I'm not picking the team. I'm going to tell you a situation. You need a guy that's going to rebound, defend, block shots, and score in the rim. That's all you need. Like with the Warriors in their prime, that's all they needed. Then of course you're Jared Allen. But if you're a team that doesn't have a lot of pieces, that needs somebody to score, that needs somebody to do something where nobody's always putting the ball in their hand to do everything for them, then I would pay DeAndre Ayton 32 plus because I know he can score 18 to 25 and he can score 18 to 25 by himself.
Oh wait, hold on.
You're getting fired.
Let me put this in perspective. Denver, Philly. Who else is primarily a big man team? Those guys would pay DeAndre Ayton the same money because their teams are built around their center position. Their
You
teams,
think
they're
Denver
flowing.
would give DeAndre Ayton 32 and a half when they've had Joker?
You're
I
listening
understand
to
what he's
argue.
saying.
You're listening to argue.
They're not even comparable players.
You're listening to argue. Listen to comprehend what I'm saying.
Because you don't understand what
They're not going to give him that money because yes, they play big. He doesn't fit what they do
He's saying as a team that their team is built around their center play
because he's good.
You're not getting it. He's good because he's able to do so many variety of things on the basketball court so they can build around. DeAndre Ayton is capable of that.
No, he's
Jared
not.
Allen is not. Hold on. We're not talking about if you believe that he's going to be successful.
He's never shown it.
Hold on. We're talking about player fit. Player fit. That's the question you asked. Where would he fit and what teams? I'm giving you the teams. You just don't like my answer.
That deal, they would rather pay him than Jared Allen. That was the question.
Yes, Denver and Denver's build would rather have a guy like DeAndre Ayton to replace Jokic than Jared Allen. Now, if we switch to somebody like Miami,
that is not true.
Miami would do Jared Allen. Miami's not devoted to Bam Adebayo running the.
Bam and DeAndre Ayton almost the same guy. What do you mean?
No, that one I disagree. I think they would choose Ayton.
Now, here's why I would say
that would probably be the worst comparison you could have made.
That's why I say different. Jared Allen is not as great as a shooter as DeAndre on the outside. He can shoot good. He's a better defender.
Much better.
Miami depends on Bam to be that low post guy on the defensive rebounding end of the basketball.
They also need that 20 though.
We saw without Bam scoring in this postseason, they would have got swept.
Now, let's not say postseason. Let's say finals.
Jared's dropping 15, 16 on you.
But he's not doing it post up. He's not doing it in the hype. He's not doing it creative zone shot. He's doing it.
Y'all is wild.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. That might be a little bit of a stretch.
There's not a single team in the NBA that is taken.
Remember,
DeAndre Ayton was a free agent.
So you talking about?
You remember that? DeAndre Ayton was free last year. Nobody wanted him.
You tell me there's no team in the NBA that's going to take DeAndre Ayton.
Nobody wanted to max him.
No. We're talking about Jared Allen.
Until Indiana did. So who are you? Nobody, or is it until Indiana? Which one?
Indiana was a perfect fit. He went to Indiana. If he went to Indiana,
guess what? I guarantee you today, if you ask the front office in Indiana, they are thanking God they didn't sign him and kept Miles Turner.
Let me ask you this.
I bet you that.
Let me ask you this.
Because DeAndre Ayton's trash and he's overpaid.
Can I ask you a question?
Miles Turner is a better player for less money.
So he would have averaged 25. He'd have been an all-star if he went to Indiana. If we're being honest,
he would have done what Miles Bridges did.
No.
Show me when DeAndre Ayton has ever averaged 25 anywhere.
Let me tell you, when you have a guy in Chris Paul who's only going to let you dive to the basket. When you have a guy in Devin Booker that's going to take 20-plus shots. The Pacers did not have that. They paid DeAndre Ayton. Why? They wanted to pay him. Why? Because they was going to use him on the offensive end so he can be successful.
And they are thanking God they dodged that bullet
and didn't make the playoffs. If
they're thanking God they didn't do it, why are they still in trade talks with us? Why is it continuous trade talks about Miles Turner leaving freaking Indiana for DeAndre Ayton?
Because they don't want to pay him what he's worth or what he wants. Miles Turner, that's been
they want to pay DeAndre Ayton.
They benched Miles Turner 2 years ago because they didn't want to pay him. He was sitting.
But they want to pay DeAndre Ayton.
Do you know the contract differences, like the amount differences of what Miles is going to get maxed out or not versus DeAndre? Miles doesn't even have enough of the pillars met to get the amount of money that DeAndre's getting right now.
I feel like you're making my point. So he's a better value.
Huh? So we're gonna pay DeAndre more because DeAndre's done more.
He's done what? What did he do?
He's pushed the cap up. He's able to get max deal. Miles is not at that point. He can't get that. He has no performance accolades that have pushed his contract up. With the new CBA, there's certain stuff you have to hit in order to reach certain pillars. So
what did Ayton accomplish what are you talking about?
Well, first of all, their team went to the conference final. That's a marker.
So the team went.
No, but I'm telling you, we're talking about the contract. You're talking about money. We're breaking down the money.
Right.
We're not talking frivolous. DeAndre Ayton is going to get paid more than Miles Turner on the next contracts. No matter what we talk about, no matter what you say about him, no matter if you think he's trash or not.
The eligibility. He's going to be eligible for way more money.
Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Why?
Because of the CBA.
Answer my question. What did Ayton do to qualify? What did he do?
Did he make hold on, what all NBA hold on. He made something last year.
Please educate me. Like for real. If he accomplished something, I'll give him credit. Tell me what he accomplished.
And Miles Turner.
Other than his team having his bird rights, which allowed them to max him.
Well, that part too.
That's a huge difference.
But the Pacers was willing to pay him that money. And if a team's willing to pay you money because they were going to use you, I'm telling you right now, no matter what, listen.
Teams make mistakes.
Okay, like your team did by giving Bradley Beal a no trade clause.
No, we disagree. And Jay should be thanking his lucky stars that we did.
I'm thanking you guys for that.
All he did was make an all rookie team. But this is all I'm gonna say about DeAndre Ayton because we're not about to turn this into we're not about to turn this into a DeAndre Ayton show. Because we're not doing this. That's all I'm going to say, Ray. He would be the best player on your team today. Now let's move on. Let's move on.
And the sad reality.
Let's move on. Because
he's not. He's not even on it. Yeah, you're right.
You keep talking about KCP. He hasn't been in a long time.
These next couple topics, man. KP was Kristaps
Porzingis. Listen, man. I'm trying to,
Listen, we can move on. I cannot wait.
We spent 40 minutes. We spent 40 minutes talking about DeAndre
I cannot wait for another year of DeAndre Ayton. It's going to be long.
It's Ray. He hates DeAndre.
I started on the Wizards. Y'all brought the Suns up. I wasn't even going to bring them up.
Okay, but then let's move on.
Now, speaking of moving on, MJ getting out of the majority ownership game. By all accounts, he will stay on as a minority owner. Shout out to J. Cole, who will also be a minority owner now of the Charlotte franchise. The quick question, we don't got to spend a lot of time here, is will Charlotte be any better? Chris, I'll start with you. They got a top 2 draft pick.
Will they be any better? I will say this. Charlotte's issue, one, they haven't really drafted well since he's been an owner, right? We can all attest to that.
Yeah.
They haven't been the best drafting team. Got some hits, a lot of misses. They need to be able to market that team to a big name free agent, for one. They need LaMelo Ball to be healthy. LaMelo Ball, this would by far would have been his best season. He was able to stay healthy. I honestly think he would have been he probably wouldn't have made it, but he would have been in that bubble talk for all NBA third team. I do think this would have been LaMelo's best year. So they need to, one, make sure LaMelo is healthy, and then you need to sit down and ask yourself, how can you build around your guy? Because he's a superstar in the making. How can you build around your guy? You need to ask yourself that now and start putting those pieces together now. You don't want to wait, and now you have 1,000 picks or all this money. You don't know what to do. Then you sign up Batums for $100 million. You don't need to do that. If I'm Charlotte right now, you need to figure out how can you get better for a championship run. Now, you don't want to think about it right now. How can you get better for a championship run? So can they get better? Absolutely. But it's going to take bringing in guys that really know what they're doing, and you need to believe in your process, and you need to believe in your guy in LaMelo Ball. I think all this, honestly, if I'm not mistaken, they have the number 2 pick, right?
Yep.
You get Scoop, and you let that backcourt, the Scoot's the guy. And unless you're going to trade that for an established player, which I don't know if I would do because I don't think I don't think your roster is ready to even make a run right now. When I look at the Eastern Conference, you don't want to be a team like the Knicks, like the Cavs, like the Hawks, even that aren't ready to take that next step. If you're going to go all in, you want to go all in. You don't want to be, you don't want to be stuck. So I think you get Scoot, and even when you get Scoot, if LaMelo's healthy, you're going to be in the same place. So you get Scoot, and you build that way. You don't go all in.
You got to get rid of. You got to let Kelly go. You got to let Gordon go.
True,
you got to get rid of Terry. You got
to
get rid of.
You can get.
I agree with everything you're
saying. Is Terry a free agent or is he under contract?
I think Terry's still under contract.
Oh my gosh, then you can get something for Terry. You letting Kelly Oubre go, that hurts. Gordon Hayward, I mean, not really.
Thank God they get off that deal.
But exactly. But if you're able to flip Rozier for something and you put around all those nice power forwards and centers, you hope one of them blossom. You try to get a wing, and then you just let your young players play. Because again, when I looked at this team, LaMelo has them, and I'm not saying a bubble not saying the playing tournament means anything, but he had them in the playing tournament almost every single year. So if you're able to do that right there with not the best roster, you bring in better coaching, you bring in better management, and you build on that the right way. The wrong way is try to go all in, and you're a 4th to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th seed doing nothing. Like Ray, and he talks about the Atlanta Hawks, 8, 7 seed, 8 seed, they did nothing. You're going all in for no reason. You're going to go all in. You go all in, and you like the Sixers try to do and get a Jimmy Butler. You go all in like the Raptors did and get a Kawhi. But only if you can do that and your team's ready to do that. The Hornets aren't ready to go all in for anybody right now.
So real quick, before I go directly on the roster, congratulations to Michael Jordan turning 175 mil into $3 billion. Congratulations.
Still has ownership stake.
And still kept ownership stake. Like, hats off. We talked about it earlier. Some athletes are role models, and that's definitely one. So congratulations. The other thing though, man, like I agree with everything that Chris said. Like you go Scoot, and then you got to get rid of this roster if you want to look ahead for a championship. The longer you stay with this particular setup, you're just dragging yourself. You're just dragging yourself through the freaking mud. Terry Rozier, I love him, but LaMelo and Scoot would be better. Oubre has to go. Gordon Hayward has to go. These are guys that need to be sent towards a contender or sent somewhere where they're going to fit in as a role player on a team, because these are not guys anymore that are capable of carrying a team. So, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward, the Cody Martin, those guys. Now, PJ Washington's the only one I'm kind of iffy on. I don't know if you move on from PJ just yet.
I think if you can get a good deal for PJ, I would bring him back. I would honestly bring PJ Washington back. I like PJ, average 15, not really your rebounder, but kind of like your Shannon Fry, where he was supposed to be, a guy that's from 6'9", early 6'8" to 6'10". He's 6'7", but he plays like he's 6'8", 6'9". Can shoot. I mean, he can really shoot the ball. He's shooting about 6 threes a game. So, if when you have LaMelo, he's going to get the looks he wants. This is by far his best year.
So I think you keep PJ.
I would keep PJ.
PJ, Scoot, LaMelo. Was a Bach Knight.
You got
Dennis Smith Jr. These guys got to go.
Book Knight. Well, Book Knight you just drafted. He's not going nowhere.
But you better get Scoot.
Yeah, no. But you're not. Nobody's going to want Book Knight. So if you can keep him in a G League and he can develop to come off the bench, because you have no bench, you're not really in a rush to get rid of a Book Knight.
And you better keep McGowens.
You're going to have to keep. You're going to have to keep. Like Mick Owens. You're going to have to keep. You're not in no rush to give rid of Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, nobody. This is guys that you can afford to give them team-friendly deals because nobody's going to give them huge money. So and you get rid of them, but you have nothing. I'd rather get a guy for a team-friendly deal to have to overpay for a backup.
You ever seen like a boat getting like there's some like an anchor just stuck on it?
Yeah, no, I see
I'm
what you're
gonna cut the
saying.
rope. I'm
I
cutting
see
the
what you're
rope.
saying, but if you can get a team friendly deal, you got two guys like a Nick Richards and a Mark Davis. Those, I mean, Mark Williams. Those are the only two centers right now. So maybe you look at to upgrade that position. If you want to upgrade anything, you look at. I like Mark Williams. If you want to bring in some vets or a veteran center, you look at that.
Honestly, Chris, I go with with kind of the direction you were saying earlier. What we were kind of saying, just get rid of these dudes. I might keep Mark. I might bring PJ back on a friendly deal. LaMelo, and then you draft Scoot, fill in some young dudes to fill the roster out for the year. Get back into the lottery next year, and that's the year that you go out and spend some money on free agents. You got two top 10 or two lottery picks on your team with LaMelo and PJ and Mark, and hopefully you can go out and draft another center or a wing player and go from there. That's the way I would go with this particular team.
Because a lot of their guys are still young. Like both their centers are on rookie deals. Almost everybody's on their rookie deal. So you're not in a rush to get rid of nobody, but you're not in a rush to add nobody. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gutting the roster for no reason. I'm going to keep these young guys and I'm going to build the right way. As long as they draft right.
Oubre, Hayward, Rozier off team. Let them walk.
And everybody else you can keep.
I don't understand what you guys are even saying half the time.
What?
Like, I agree. This is not the year to go all in. Let me be clear. I agree not going all in. But I feel like the Spurs and the Hornets are in very similar situations.
Woo!
And y'all keep saying, wait. Like, injuries don't happen. Like, life can't happen. So, yes, I 100% don't go out and give Russell Westbrook or Chris Middleton or somebody like, or D'Angelo Russell.
No free agents this year to go get.
That is not, and that's what I keep trying to share with y'all. Y'all keep looking for these names. There is quality talent.
I'm looking at quality talent. Nobody's going to. So, do you want them to be a solid playoff team, or are we talking about going? When I say go all in, I mean go all in to try to be close to a championship contender.
Like for instance, Draymond Green's about to be a free agent. You go all in.
He's not.
But
going
you
to
go all in. You go to. But that's what I'm saying. That's what we're trying to say.
He's going to want $20+ million.
That's what we're saying about going all in. You go out. You got to go get a player
I'm talking about spending
that.
$10+ million.
Right.
I'm not. $10 million in this NBA, $10 million a year right now. Like, I think somebody like,
you know what I mean. When I say all in, I mean a good
20,
contract.
a 30.
I'm not mad at them for picking up a quality guys. We're not talking about that. But to me, quality guys is not going to make them a championship contender. I'm not talking about them taking.
Establish a culture.
Yeah, but okay. Let me put it like this. Hold on, I got you.
So who's a culture setter in the free agents right now? Because I have the list. I'll read everybody's name. Please tell me a culture setter. There's none.
For me, I disagree. I think someone like Dylan Brooks would be great in Charlotte.
What position is he going to play? First of all, he's going to play the 3, and you're going to have Scoot, LaMelo, and him, and that's your leadership going forward.
I think that's a great looking backcourt. What are you talking about?
Nope.
Dylan Brooks.
Nope.
Dylan Brooks.
Nope.
For culture, I think Dylan Brooks would give them more swag. I think Dylan Brooks can instill an energy.
Then why are the Grizzlies letting him? If he's such this culture setter, why are the Grizzlies?
Are we really going to use the Grizzlies organization as the example? Because they clearly don't know how to set any kind of culture.
We are because if he's this culture, setter, tell me why everything you want him to do in Charlotte, that's Memphis. Young, swaggy, that's Memphis. Why are they letting him go? Because the rest of the team is a disaster. What are you talking about? Did you watch Memphis? I don't even think he's a top 4 player on that team, if I'm being honest. Top 5 player on that team, if I'm being honest.
Y'all just said they don't need that.
And so I don't. Dylan Brooks is going to demand money.
No, I don't think. What do you think Dylan Brooks is getting?
That's why him and Memphis got into it, because he already said how much money he won. Memphis was like, "No, bro, you lost your money."
Well, how much does he want?
I would tell you guys. I'm looking at this list. I would tell you guys that play that wing position that I would take over Dylan Brooks every day of the week, because that mean you're playing
Bruce
next to
Brown,
Melo.
Joe Ingles, Lonnie Walker. These are Kendrick Nunn. There's a bunch of players you can go get that will help build out some veteran depth on your roster.
And I agree with
You're
that. I agree with that. I'm saying do that. But when I say I'm not telling them to go spend a whole bunch of money is what I'm saying.
I agree with y'all. But I think there's
the same thing.
A Justice Winslow. There are people that you can bring in to help cultivate culture that are pros. There's no pros there.
So what don't you agree with what we said? I'm confused. On what did we say that you don't agree with?
The fact that y'all are saying basically just quit.
I didn't say quit. I didn't. That. My words were you get
y'all
rid
were
of.
saying be back in the lottery next year. Like, don't
again. My words were you do not go all in. I literally said
I agree with that.
No, right. Let me finish because now you put words in my mouth. What I said, Christopher Brown, was that with LaMelo, when you're healthy, you're already a play-in, playoff team. You're not ready to go all in, but you sustain that. That's what I said. I didn't say tank and go to the lottery. What I said was sustain what you're at right now, a bubble playoff team, and build around
7 and 8 would be great fits in Charlotte. 6 would be a good fit in Charlotte.
Yeah, but wait.
7.
So let's break this down.
No.
So let's break this down.
First, Dylan Brooks shoots 30% from the 3-point line.
You don't need him to shoot.
What do you need him to do? What is he going to do?
He's a culture guy. He's a defender. He's an agitator. Those people have value.
Not at the money.
Let me respond. Let me respond.
He's at 11 million.
Ray, let me respond real quick. Let me respond real quick. Because first of all, I don't think that you're understanding what we mean about the whole goal all in. Because when you tie somebody up for 4 to 5 years on $15 million, $20 million a year, you're now stuck. And that's what we were talking about. What Chris was talking about earlier with Atlanta and things like that. So let's talk about your number 6 that you just pointed out.
Y'all are saying there's no free agents. And I'm saying I think there are free agents.
We're talking about for Charlotte. That's what I'm talking about. That will be game changers.
Nobody said that.
Your money on. That's what we said. That's what we're missing. We're missing each other. So
y'all,
hold on. I'm gonna explain it. Stop asking and let me explain it. You can ask 31 questions. I'm gonna give you one answer if you let me give it to you.
You're not answering my question. Go ahead.
So look. You got your top guys: Chris Middleton, James Harden, Kyle Kuzma, Bruce Brown are the top 4 wing free agents. Those guys are definitely considered all-ins because of how much money they're going to be demanding. Bruce Brown, I don't think Bruce Brown getting a bunch of money. I'm not quite sure about Bruce Brown, about how much he's going to get. But remember his performance throughout the playoffs, and it led to the first championship in Denver, and that means a lot. So looking at Jordan Clarkson, though, because that's your number 6 that you pointed at. Jordan Clarkson's coming off a $14.3 million a year contract. He is going to warrant $20 million a year. Okay?
Then you can't get him.
That's our points. Austin Reeves is going to demand a lot of money.
I didn't mention him.
What I'm saying is all this list right here, we can't. There's nothing to do here. So now let's scroll down. This is your list. This is your list.
You think Oubre's getting less than Bruce Brown?
Yes, on his next contract. Yes.
Okay.
Bruce Brown is I don't know. Maybe we should do a show where we just review the CBA so we're all on the same. Because the new CBA, he just won a championship. He just did a couple of other things.
I say this with Oubre. I think his contract really varies because he's a guy that averages 20. He's a guy I don't know how much he's really going to get paid. It really
I would love him back in Washington. I tell you.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like he's a guy that can really. I don't know. It's really. I question what he's going to, how much, because he could get paid a lot, or he could get an MLE, a mid-level exception, and he go to a winning team. So he's a guy that I don't know. But
he's on that teeter-totter age.
Yeah. Let me just, in simple terms, this is what I was trying to say, and what I did say. As the Hornets organization, you are a playoff team when your superstar is healthy. You maintain that level. You don't digress. You slowly build. And when you're at the point where you were like one of these young teams that was ready to go all in, like the Cavs kind of were, and they went for Donovan Mitchell, then you do that.
Or Sacramento.
You go in for Sabonis. But until you show consistency,
and you have to draft well.
Yes.
But I think
until you show consistency, you don't go in all in yet. That's all I'm trying to say.
And I understand.
So I was saying you keep your playoff team, whatever components goes into you making the playoffs, you sustain that. I didn't say go to the lottery and tank. I say you sustain your level of play, which is to me a playoff team.
And I think where you kind of got
I can live
confused
with that,
was
but I
because
think
the
y'all
difference between what I said and what Chris said was I said that they should get rid of Hayward, Oubre,
Agreed.
and Rozier because of the money value, and not spend that this year.
And that's what we
on-
disagree.
That's where we disagree, because I don't think that there's no one out there this year that warrants because they're not ready for the super push. So I would rather see if they can get some role players in here that are on team friendly contracts.
If-
Find one?
so, I'm not a team friendly contract, but a guy that I would pay money for. The only guy, a wing guy that I would give a little money towards would be Cam Johnson. That's me.
I don't think they need
I
a
can
wing
deal with
guy.
that.
They need.
What do they need? They need a center.
If you need,
They need a big man. They got Miles
they-
Bridges supposedly coming
You
back.
do
He's
need a
been
big
on
man.
Twitter talking about he's coming back. If
Well,
you draft Scoot and LaMelo, you don't really need a wing guy.
you're gonna need a defender. When I look at Cam Johnson, all those, he's 3-and-D. But
You
again,
don't-
I'm not about this is not my all-in guy. I'm saying if there's somebody at that small forward position, if you want to move on from Oubre and you want to bring in, that's the only guy that I would give.
As a Oubre replacement, I don't disagree with that at all. And I
That's
think
all
he
that.
does
That's all
fit.
I was trying to say.
But I think Miles Bridges is a better wing guy than Cam Johnson.
well, until I see Miles Bridges on the Hornets,
And I can get him for cheaper because he ain't getting no max deal no more.
Until I see him signed and in the NBA,
Question.
I'm not thinking about him. That's me.
One question before we move off. One question before we move off for both of you, because he's kind of under the radar. I don't know if he's going to warrant a super big contract, but I think he might work. What about Karis LeVert?
No,
No.
No?
Not
too
in
much,
Charlotte.
too much offense. Like I said, that small forward position, when you got Scoot and LaMelo, that's going to be a dynamic. You can get anywhere from 45 combined points and 10 to 14 combined assists. You're going to need a guy that's going to do the dirty work and defend and shoot. Yes, he needs to score, but he doesn't need to be a guy. To me, Karis LeVert's a guy that needs the ball in his hand. That's why I think him at the Cavs, that small forward position, it didn't work because you already got.
Work with Melo.
Yeah, he's not going to work because he didn't work with Garland and Mitchell. You're going to go into the same. You're going to go into the same problem over there in Charlotte. So I love Karis LeVert. This is not a knock on him. It's his play style versus the team need.
I feel like, in my opinion, I think the reason where we disagree is I like Charlotte's roster. Even factoring in PJ Washington, I factor in LaMelo's. I think they should get Scoot, but even
Miller. I like Miller too.
Either one of them, I think, can fit with Melo. I think you got 4 young people. Melo's already got paid.
No,
I don't think
on his deal.
I thought they extended him.
No, hell no.
He's about to get a super duper.
He's about to get it. He didn't get extended yet though.
Oh.
Trust me, because Anthony Edwards is going to be the first one to get that money.
Okay, no, you're right. I thought they had paid.
Anthony Edwards about to get paid. Like
He's about to get a stupid bag.
So, even in that, you're gonna save on Bridges. I believe Bridges will be back. Based on his Twitter, it sounds like he's
until I see him. I'm with you. Bridges.
Chris, now it's my turn. Okay, not finished. My point. Thank you. My point is, I think you got 4 very solid pieces. I think you can trade Hayward for something, even if it's more draft picks. Get that off your roster. I think Rozier has trade value. You can go get some pieces. Yes. Is there a superstar in this draft class or this free agent class that I would spend a lot of money on that's going to push them over the top? No. But I think Milwaukee's getting old. I think Phoenix is getting old. I think Boston's going to change. I think the East is available. That if you put a competent team together with that young core, I think they can make noise very quickly. And it sucks because I think Mike is going to miss out on some of that as the main guy. But I think their foundation has been built relatively strong. They just got to get rid of Rozier and Hayward contracts. And I think there's a lot of opportunity. Mitch Kupchak, I believe, is still the GM there, who has built decent teams in his history. I trust that if they move those pieces, they are not as far away as y'all keep saying that they are. In the East, I think they could easily be a top 5 team next year with a calculated trade or 2. Who all is going to be available? I think there's going to be a ridiculous offseason. I think there's going to be a bunch of trades. And we keep talking about Scoot. But if Zion or Dame or something, not Dame, but somebody else decides to move up and says, you know, we got to have him, they still have that trade chip. We're assuming they're going to draft Scoot. They could parlay that into who knows what. I think that is a very, very valuable. That is a very, very valuable draft pick right now at 2. And I think if they want, they can command something. So that's where I think the biggest difference is. I think just like San Antonio, I don't think this team is that far away. And with 1 or 2 players, with that core young roster, and I am including Bridges, which is yet to be seen, but Adam Silver apparently is a softie. So he better let Bridges back if he let Ja off with 25.
Okay, let's just move on that. I was ready to respond, but now let's just move on. Let's just move on. Next topic, Ray. Next topic.
We don't need to do the Joker, big man. That's we can argue.
We need more time for that. I need Ken and Y for that one.
Yeah. So let's get
management.
We can do it. It's kind of the same thing.
Hey,
so I did
real quick on that. Bob Myers will be running the Suns here soon. Just want to let you know.
That would be amazing for y'all. Y'all got to throw a lot of money. I thought y'all just hired somebody.
Can he take a pit stop in Washington though to fix that?
I would give him whatever he wants. Give him whatever he wants. But my point in that was Draymond said part of his decision was going to be based on if Bob Myers stayed. Mm-hmm. Bob Myers left. Draymond opted out. So the reports are Bob Myers, and what Draymond said that was he was great with the players. The owner, Joe Lacob, said we didn't even interview outside of our organization because we had this inclusive, tight-knit culture. Mm-hmm. My question for you all is, with the new change in management, Draymond opting out, are the Warriors dead? Is that run over?
Absolutely not. I'll start first on this. Absolutely not. I thought Draymond was gone anyways. I thought the team was outgrowing Draymond Green. And it was natural. Draymond's getting a little older. Draymond is getting a little, losing a step here and there. He wasn't the most athletic person already on the court. But I think the team was kind of outgrowing them. The money, obviously, between the three. Then you got Poole. Then you got Kuminga coming up. You got guys that are gonna need your attention, so to speak. And Draymond, outside of the money side, he absorbs a lot of attention as well. The Jordan Poole thing, to your point about what the team ownership said about them having such a close-knit organization. Well, Draymond Green, unfortunately, your reputation, not only in the organization, but outside of the organization, is a troublemaker. So if we have a close knit
misnomer, but I'll let you go.
I don't agree with that, but
we're talking about antics. We're just talking about antics.
I think the Warriors and him, they did the public thing because Jordan Poole's younger, but I think they all felt Jordan Poole needed that. And I think a lot of people around the league don't disagree.
But hold on.
That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
But hold on. Needing something and doing something to a younger dude like that.
And if the staffer doesn't put out the video, we never know.
Facts. Facts.
Thank you. So it's not that close knit.
Woo!
That's not true.
It's not that close knit.
You've been in locker rooms. I've seen teammates fight a lot. Over women, over on the court stuff.
All we do is fight. I fought all my favorite teams.
A lot of times brings teams together. The fact that it got out publicly is with the issue, and Jordan Poole, as a young man with an ego and pride, I think that was the issue.
100%. So, but I'm not putting any blame on Draymond. I'm not saying anything bad about Draymond Green at all with what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in the notions of what you've displayed already, of them being a close-knit team, the team already being at a situation now where money is about to become an issue with the next 1 to 3 years. They already moved away from when they moved away from what's his name earlier this year? The center. Wiseman. That was the notion to me. Draymond was on his way out. Because you couldn't pay Wiseman. You couldn't pay Wiseman and Draymond and Poole and Kuminga.
Well, Wiseman wasn't worth it.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. Well, one Wiseman wasn't gonna get that much money anyway because he didn't show nothing with Golden State. But
I think Detroit was a good fit for him, but I don't think I guess
I'm gonna let you cook.
I think that would have been a similar situation. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm gonna let you cook.
I'm out. Go ahead.
Pause.
They muted him.
Okay, I'm back. All right. So, but the whole point, I don't think he would have warranted like some super crazy max contract or nothing, of course, but the money would have still had to come. It would have been somewhere around the range of Poole, maybe a little less, but it would have been around. It would have probably been up there.
Whoa,
yeah, man.
Do you know how much money Poole got?
Nah, he wouldn't have got it. He
What's
would
Poole
not.
at 5 years?
$100 and something million.
100 what?
I think we're like
Whoa,
120.
it don't matter. He wasn't getting $100 million.
Wiseman shouldn't have got more than 50.
Thank you.
And I think that's generous for 4.
50.
He's getting right now 123, 32 a year. 4 years, 128. Wiseman wasn't getting no more than $80 million.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no. Wiseman wasn't getting no more than $80.
Even 80 though, that's still a big chunk from what they already.
Yeah, see, they mute up when he starts saying crazy
because
stuff.
They want me to cook, man.
Go ahead. Jump in there.
Go ahead, Chris. But yeah, I just think Draymond was the odd man out, man. Period.
It should have been Clay, but go ahead.
Hell no.
I'm gonna let Chris go and then I'll come back.
So I'm just gonna address because again, talk about Draymond is talking about management, seeing Bob Myers go. That's a hurt piece to their team. I didn't expect them to hire anybody outside of. Because I knew for sure if they hired anybody outside that they were done. But the fact that they hired somebody inside to me shows that they still want to be competitive, but hiring a guy that, is going to get some experience, obviously their run's going to end short. What I will say about Draymond is him opting out, obviously to me, tells me that he's not going to be there. Because
I see his tweet.
Because I don't get on. I stopped getting on Twitter as much. But what did the tweet say?
He added LeBron James and said, "Taco night at your place. I'll bring the Lobos."
All right, that means nothing. Okay, I thought it was something serious. I thought it was.
You opt serious. Out and then tweet at LeBron. You said that means nothing.
That means nothing. I thought it was really something serious. Okay. So back to what I was cooking up. That just pissed me off. I'm sorry, Ray, but I thought that means nothing to me.
The tacos don't mean nothing. Chris.
Tacos mean nothing to me because he's the same guy hanging out with LeBron.
None of this
for years. He was hanging out with LeBron for years. So him tweeting at LeBron, it doesn't move any. That's what I'm saying. It means nothing to me. If it was out the blue. Yeah, but he been hanging out with LeBron for years. It means nothing to me. So him opting out shows me that
I gotta jump off. So I just wanted to say,
we almost at the top anyway.
Yeah,
I'll see y'all soon.
Appreciate you jumping on, Jay. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate y'all having me.
But I'll wrap it up. I'll try to be brief. Draymond, I knew he was going to end up leaving. Where he goes, obviously everybody thinks LA is number one. But to me, when I look at Draymond, I really got to ask myself how different would his career would have been if Kevin Durant did not sign. Because that last year, he was averaging 14, 9.8 rebounds and 7.5 assists. He was blossoming into that game 7. He was the third best player on the court behind Kyrie and LeBron. He was going to take that next step. I do think he was going to be. He's going to look at Draymond a lot different. But he's the guy that buys into his role. He's the guy, to me, that's going to go on a team that's willing to accept him for everything and is trying to win, and a team that he's going to fit in and play well on. That's why we all say LA's number one, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere else. But wherever he goes, is going to be a team that's trying to win the championship. I don't think the Warriors are done. I do think they're trying to get younger and maybe bring in more depth to that team. You look at a guy like Kuminga. They're I don't want to say all in on Kuminga, but if you don't bring in another guy at that position, to me, Kuminga has a lot of, I don't want to say shoes to fill, but he has to step up in a big way. Obviously, you're not going to be Draymond. You're not going to be that playmaker. You're not going to be that vocal guy. We understand that. Kevin Looney is going to step up for sure. But Ronald Kuminga on that offensive side, as far as scoring the ball, he's going to have to step up. That's to me is where they need Kuminga. Kuminga's going to have to average at least 12 to 15 points. That's what you need out of Kuminga next year. Taco is always here, especially. Oh, okay. No disrespect, but when I look at his roster, Kuminga is going to have to step up. Jordan Poole, you have your ego, which was so hurt. You need to put your pride to the side. And Kuminga, Moses Moody, Jordan Poole, those young guys, 3 young guys on that team. It's time for y'all to make a name and step up for yourselves. This team wants to be competitive.
So I just had something just came to me real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought.
Okay.
Do you know who's Scoot's been being mentored by? Did you hear the report?
Is it Curry?
It is. You know who has a lot of money that they need to get off their books?
Just drop the team.
The Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
You know a team that needs some veteran depth that I was just talking about? The Charlotte Hornets.
Who in your right mind is worth the number 2 pick?
If I'm Charlotte, and again, this is me, and I don't know if people want to go there, but I can put a package of, I can offer you a Poole. I can offer you any of those young players. I can offer you Clay.
All of them.
I can give you a couple. I would. Poole's money's high.
You're gonna need Poole, Kuminga. You're probably not Poole, Kuminga. Let me look at it right. Definitely, I'm not gonna lie. Kuminga's in there. So if I do, sure.
If I do Poole, Kuminga, and picks, you gonna turn that down for Scoot Henderson? That's risky.
I don't know.
I'm giving you
risky,
2 guys.
But then again, if that's the package you're getting, I know you can get a better deal. Only because Kuminga, as young as he is unproven.
I can put Moody. You can replace whoever you want. I'll put Clay in there. Well, that would make a lot of money. I don't know if they can do both.
Yeah, you don't need Moody, but you want. I mean,
Poole, I still got Gary Payton the 4th. I'll
say this though. I'll say this. It sounds good. It sounds good. I don't know if the Warriors will want to do it. For one, for two, I don't think it's going to happen.
Somehow you can bring in the Lakers if Draymond want to go to LA, make it a 3-team deal. Maybe you skip Austin Reeves and Kuminga, so maybe the Hornets get Kuminga and Reeves and Lonnie Walker. Like, there's opportunity. Now the draft is on
number 2 pick.
The draft is on Thursday, but again,
is this Thursday?
Yeah, this Thursday. So
that's all I'm gonna say. If I'm the if I'm the Warriors, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. I'll be honest.
So what do you do with Draymond? You just letting him walk for free?
I mean, obviously, if you can get a sign and trade for Draymond, you will want that. But you will want that 100%.
But you got to think.
But what do you want?
Unrestricted. So in essence, he has a no trade too.
Exactly. He doesn't have to get traded. Yeah. Listen, you will want that. But what do you really? If you're this Warriors team. What do you want depth? To me, you want depth at the big spot at 3 through 5. 3 through 5 is where you want your depth at.
I'm good with that.
So you don't like when it comes to guards, you got Poole, you got Gary Payton, you got Moody. Those are 3 guards off the bench. You got Dante DiVincenzo, who's
he already opted out.
He opted out. Okay,
they said they probably can't afford him. And with Scoot, you get a cheap deal. That's a rookie contract.
You need depth. You're giving up too much for Scoot, unproven guy.
I don't know. I like him, and I didn't say this on here, and we're too late. I think San Antonio should reconsider.
No,
I know Wemby's gonna go first.
No.
I just don't know about him, and we'll talk. We'll cover the draft on Thursday.
Yeah,
we'll be on.
I gotta disagree only because superstition. You got David, you got Tim.
I don't think he them.
Listen, not saying he is, but you keep drafting all these great big men at that number 1 spot. Why mess it up?
They're going to do it.
What good guard have you ever drafted that early?
Outside San Antonio.
They only to me. I can only think
They
of
don't
two.
really draft that high often.
Yeah, I can. That's true. That's why I had to stop. But I can only think of even guards in general. 2 good guards they even drafted. I can only think of 2. 3.
Manny Manu,
3.
Tony Parker, DeJounte Murray,
Yeah, 3.
Keldon
3.
Johnson.
3. Keldon Johnson's to me, it's not a guard, but I see what you're saying. But
And
I mean,
that's just off the top of my head.
that's why I said 3.
Did they
That's why I
draft
said
Bruce
3.
Bowen? Well, he's more of a wing.
Exactly. That's why I said 3. I'm thinking, trust me, my mind's going. I can only think of 3. But the point I'm trying to make is, I don't think
with that talent.
The Warriors. I don't think they should do it. And the Spurs, I gotta go Wemby. I gotta go Wemby.
I think I know they will. I'm just saying, we'll revisit this
and Scoot's going to be a hell of a player.
And that big lanky frame, we'll see how long it lasts and how well it holds up. But the West got some bangers.
Who the West bang?
Did you see who just won the championship?
Sabonis, Jokic.
Who's it? If Nurkic ever come back, he's more of a low post player that can bang for Portland.
But then look what he's going to do on his side of So of course you might be same thing with Chet. I want to see Chet healthy because as much as Chet, I haven't heard anything about him. So hopefully he added some muscle. But when I look at
he
Wemby,
has been actually very quiet. That's a good point.
Yeah, when I look at,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah,
the Lakers are a physical team as currently constructed. They may not. AD's not a banger, but they're a physical team.
But again, he knows his weaknesses. I don't see it being a weakness for that much longer.
Okay, we will see. We will definitely see. Also, did you see the Tszyu knockout before we get out of here?
I didn't.
He looked good. Charlo, you were on the clock. Both Charlos on the clock. It's a lot of fights to be made. We're getting closer and closer. I don't know if you've been following Earl and Terrence Crawford on their press tour.
I'm ready.
It's good. Javante, keep your head, man, and chill out.
You saw Shakur sent Devin sign a contract.
Listen,
Shakur.
Did you know that was at Devin Haney's celebration?
Yes.
That boy cold-blooded.
Shakur wants to smoke, and
I love it.
And this is what I gotta say about, especially I love it. And to me, especially because aren't they both under the same promotion?
Yeah, they're both top ranked.
What other fight is there for Devin to take?
T.O. just won. Tank's out there. Loma's out there.
If it's not, listen, this is what I mean by that.
You should take it. I think that
if it's not,
Ryan Garcia's out there.
Those 3, those 3 fighters. 2 of them have to fight. And the 2 that makes the most sense right now, to me, is Shakur and Devin.
I agree.
To me, that makes the most sense. So out of those 3 fighters, because Ryan Garcia, it was supposed to be 4. We had Ryan in there. Ryan and Tank fought. They did their job.
They did.
It's y'all 2 turn now. And then the winner faces Tank. I'm not saying Tank is the guy, but to me, he is the guy. But the 2 winners out of the top 4 in that division, 2 of them fought already.
And the loser should fight Ryan. I'm not out on Ryan Garcia yet.
The loser that's still a good fight.
And Ryan sells.
That's what I'm saying. So
he sells better than Shakur or Haney.
Exactly.
Let's be clear.
So that's why I think, honestly, and I think it's all good fights. And if y'all want to leave that division, why not fight the best? To me, if Devin doesn't accept his fight, it shows that maybe he's not the top guy in this division. I don't think he is. But if he doesn't accept this fight, there's no other fight for you to take. He's officially running and ducking.
I think there's only 2 fights. I think if Davis says yes, you got to fight Tank.
Yes.
And if not, Tank, Shakur. If he fight anybody else,
he's ducking. That's what I'm saying.
Ducking.
To me, I want the fight to be Shakur.
Especially coming off that performance, because it was not a great performance.
It wasn't. To me, I want the fight to be Shakur over Tank right now. If you ask me, only because Shakur,
I think Tank embarrassed Haney.
That too. But Shakur has been calling out and talking so much. Now I want to say that. No, now I want to say shut him up. But now I want to see him back up all his words. So if he's able to do that against Devin and take Devin's belts, or even if he doesn't take the belts, because who cares about the belts? If he's able to beat you, you know what I mean. But if he's able to beat you, then he's better than you. So them belts is really his anyway, even if they're not his. But I think that's the fight at that division. I think that's the fight. And then whoever wins faces Tank in a year.
And my last thing before we go, and I said that already. Monty Williams, I just read a quote that said he didn't want to.
Yep.
But
Jared Ayton.
if he goes to Detroit, which is where he's at, and Wiseman starts cooking, it wasn't him. If Wiseman start playing better with Monty as his coach, DeAndre Ayton is the problem. 100%. I believe he is the problem, but we're gonna see.
Well, I mean, with that whole Pistons roster, I think they have a lot going on for themselves in a positive way. No, obviously they're not going anywhere. But when you look at, I think it sucks the draft where they're at in the draft right now. But when I look at Cade Cunningham, and Jaden Ivey, I look at a Wiseman. You got a Bagley, you got a Dern, you got so many guys on your team.
You need a superstar too, and you need some vets.
Yeah, 100%. I think right now, Cade is your number one, of course. Ivey's your two. If I was them, I would look to get rid of Bogdanovich.
And to that point, I agree with you. I wouldn't hate Kyle Kuzma in Detroit. I don't think he's gonna want to go there, but with what they got, and he has a better all-around game than people give him credit for.
100%.
I think he'd be a solid fit there, and I think they got the money to pay him.
Yeah, because Bogdanovich is getting 20 a year next year.
You said who?
Bogdanovich, the starting small forward, who I'm a fan of.
He ain't that.
He's giving you 20 a night. And like that's what I'm saying. If I'm one of these top teams, I'm going for Bogdanovich.
Yeah, if I'm a top team, I can see that.
I'm going for Bogdanovich. I mean, the past 5-6 seasons, 18 plus. And he's been on winning situations.
He's a hooper.
He was with the Jazz when they were winning. He's shooting. He can shoot about 40% for the 3-point line. If I'm a team, one of these top teams, I'm looking to get a Bogdanovich. So the Wizards, the Monty, I think he's going to cook over there. I think Udoka is going to cook with the Rockets. I'm liking these coaches getting the job. Sadly, Silas went over there. It just was a mess, and it just became a mess. So hopefully Udoka can clean it up.
I'm with you on that. I appreciate you, man. Definitely y'all tune out. We had some people in here. There's a couple double-digit viewers at some point, so appreciate the love, everybody. Damian came through as always. We got it
out. Who you want your team to draft? One guy, 8 pick, number 8. Who y'all drafting?
I'll talk to y'all on Thursday. Got to do more research. I'm not, and I also do need to see the picks. I know I trashed the picks. I don't even know what picks we got. I don't know the pick swaps. I don't know how any of the picks fall. We got to be packaging those to go get something.
Y'all lost. Y'all is bad.
We got to be packaging to go get maybe LA. LA ain't got no draft picks. We must be trying. Maybe we got to go. Maybe we're gonna go get Austin Reeves. I don't know, but we cannot just let this happen like this. This can't be the end. This cannot be the end. I refuse to believe it. Thursday night, I look for a lot of fireworks. If the first 3 picks go off without a trade, I'll be shocked. I'm not gonna lie. Zion's girl said, "I'm releasing the video if y'all don't trade them by Thursday."
That was crazy.
Like, I don't know who the heck this woman thinks she is, but
that was crazy.
He picked the wrong one.
He's. I don't know what to say about him anymore.
Yeah. So, and don't send him to Houston, especially not with James Harden as an influence, because James Harden had that boy bankrupt in a week.
Who said James Harden is going to the Rockets?
You don't want him back.
I mean, I don't want him to leave either.
But that doesn't really work, Chris.
Obviously not. So I need to.
I don't think Embiid want him back either. I ain't gonna hold you.
No, he do, because he said me and Harden can't do it by himself. That means he must think Harden. Okay. He looks up to Harden for some odd reason in the playoffs. I don't know what Embiid wants, but again, love Embiid. Don't think he's going to be a Sixer for that much longer if we don't do something.
Y'all going to trade him, or he going to force a trade?
I don't know what's going to happen. I just know he won't be a Sixer for that much longer if we don't do something.
Ooh, hot take, Chris on the way out. All right. He off an MVP year?
No, not next year. Not next year. I'm not saying next year. I'm talking about in years to come, in the next 2 years. You know, when his contract's up. I'm talking about we don't get it past the second round, even though it's his fault. You know, maybe he wants to go play with a Tatum. You know, who knows?
Fair enough. Well, y'all, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to Thursday night. Let's go. The first taste of sports anything in a long for me.
Here we go.
So yeah, let's get to it. Thursday, we are here.
And I got some hot takes.
Oh yeah. Well,
matter of fact, let me get them off now.
And actually, the draft probably start before we'll know the outcome before we come on. Go ahead.
So hot takes right now.
Let's go.
Orlando Magic, number 6 and the number 11 pick. They making a move. They're going. They getting a guy. A trade. They're trading.
They're trading up, or they're either
going to trade up.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, when I look at his roster, you don't trade up. You go trade for a player. You got too much. You got too many players on that team. It's time for you to go get a player.
I agree.
So I think the Magic make a move. I think the Thunder make a move. Lauri Markkanen to me might get traded.
Zach LaVine going to be on the Bulls by the end of the night?
No. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, to me are the guys off the top of my head right now. Maybe Dame Lillard too.
Nah.
Oh, well, no, he can't get traded till July 9th anyway. Never mind. I read a article saying he can't get traded till July 9th. But yeah, definitely that. And then I don't know if the Lakers keep that number 17 pick.
Yeah.
I see 5+ trades going down before we get on air.
Yeah, I was just reading. They have us taking Taylor Hendricks out of UCF. At 6, he's a big man. He's basically he's everything we've already had before. Jan Vesely rings.
Oh, you talk about Jan Vesely, David the dude you just drafted, David.
Danny Obvia, like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? But I'm out. I'm over it. Y'all have a good one. Hopefully I had an amazing Juneteenth. Shout out to Freedom. Shout out to the fathers. Hope you had a happy Father's Day. To the males only. That's just how I'm keeping it. Much respect to everybody, but we are gone.
And the keys, tempo, hey time, let's go.
We bring that real talk